Hey, friends, welcome back to the Stress Sleep Connection series. I'm Rebecca Russell, and I am here to share some information about this phenomenon that many of us are experiencing. Uh, we tend to think it's one or the other, but typically stress is connected to our sleep issues. So let's just dig in about why sometimes you're tired but wired and you cannot get to sleep. So, um, we're going to talk tonight about what's happening behind the scenes because sometimes it's not just about having too much on your mind, which I have talked about before. Your body can actually get stuck in that go mode, and even when you want to rest. So, if you've been feeling tired but wired, or you're restless at night or waking up and you don't feel rested, this is for you. So let's talk about what's going on and then offer some natural solutions. So our bodies were designed to for survival first, rest second. So when your brain perceives a threat, whether it's real or like a real emergency or uh, just a stressful day, it triggers your fight or flight system. And I'm sure you've heard the example before that your body and brain cannot tell the difference between whether it's an actual tiger chasing you that's causing the all the symptoms, the adrenaline, the cortisol, the racing heart, um, the mind racing. It doesn't distinguish between an actual tiger chasing you or a long to-do list that's frustrating you. So um, it's a beautiful system when we need it. But these days, many of us are chronically stressed. And uh, it's just keeping us up till 2 a.m. or maybe even all through the night. So, stress hormones like cortisol naturally drop at night so that it helps us to sleep. But when we're stressed, this hormone stays elevated. And this makes it harder to fall asleep, to stay asleep, and then to get deep restorative sleep. It increases the light sleep and decreases the REM sleep, which is where the emotional healing happens, which is so important. If you, many of us have the smart watches that tell us those ratios, and I like to track it because and try to figure out what was different. Why did I get more deep and REM last night than the night before? And so it's sometimes good to sort of keep track of your day. Did you eat later? Did you stay on the computer later? Did you have a conversation with someone that was upsetting? I know one of my famous uh, errors is to start a chore too late in the evening. And that just, even though it's not physically tiring, it gets me too engaged. So, say for instance, it's meal prepping. That's a lot of things going on with you're prepping, you're cleaning up, you've got the smells going. It's just too much when I start it at 9 o'clock at night, for instance, which I have been known to do. So I try not to do it anymore, but it is something that because I'm a natural night owl, I think, well, I know I'll be up, so I'll just start it, but that's the wrong answer. So I am learning right along with you. So one way you or some examples of how you can tell if you're stuck in that on setting is you're jittery, you're restless even when you're exhausted, your mind races with random thoughts at bedtime, you're up at 2 or 3 a.m. either with a shot of energy or usually it's anxiety, or you just feel wired but tired all the time. If any of these are familiar to you, go ahead and put some Z's in the comments. And so we know what the trouble is, right? So let's talk about solutions. I don't like staying stuck in the problem. Let's talk solutions. So sleep doesn't just happen because you're tired, for most of us, And your nervous system has to feel safe in order to relax. And, I don't know about you, but I can't sleep on a train or a plane no matter how tired I am. The control person in me is like, there's too many variables and there's no way. So I could be exhausted, like a real early flight. And so I've been up since 3 in the morning, but there's no way I'll sleep. Um, and that's partly why I can't relax. I'm in that on setting. So, we've got to calm the mind and the brain and the body and not force sleep. Try to force yourself to sleep. Have you ever just laid there tossing and turning for hours? It typically just does not work. Sometimes I'm super stubborn and I'll try to force it. Sometimes I do win that battle, but typically, if it's over an hour, get up. And most people don't even wait that long. Um, so, what can you do to calm everything down? Well, we've talked about some of these previously, but deep breathing is very helpful. Even 2 minutes helps. And you can find all different kinds of breathing exercises on YouTube, podcasts, and so forth. So, check them out. And of course, the oils. You can diffuse the calming oils. That's typically very helpful. But just be aware that everyone is different. So for some people, a citrus oil like wild orange will wire them. And for other people, it's very calming. So you need to sort of uh, be open to experimenting to see what actually works for you. Some people, they cannot stand the smell of lavender, so they think, oh, well, I can't use oils for sleep. Well, there's so many other calming oils like Melissa or Roman chamomile, so there's plenty of other options. So, and also gentle movement like stretching or walking, and of course, natural supplements. So, let's talk about the two that I'm thinking of right now. um, Adaptive. So, if you have been around doTERRA for very long, you know about the adaptive stress management system. So, the oil, I have droppers for the oils that I use a lot or make rollers a lot of because people are so stressed. I make a lot of rollers about that for that. So, I have a dropper that makes it easier to count the drops. So you can diffuse the oil, absolutely, but you can also just put a drop in the palm of your hand and then rub together and then just breathe in. So it's orange and lavender and some other oils that just smell amazing. It's just very calming. And of course, you can do it throughout the day as well. And then there is the capsule. And these capsules are amazing. They have lavender and GABA. These are the two main ingredients. They help calm the mind and body. GABA is like Xanax for your brain. It's a hormone we naturally make, but if we're stressed or we have very poor gut health, we are not making enough of it. So if we take the GABA as one a day as maintenance to keep that GABA level in our brains, that's going to help with the stress, the keeping that cortisol down and so forth. So this is an amazing alternative to some other unhealthy ways of managing stress. So if you have questions about the stress management system, the other piece to that system is just a roller bottle made with the adaptive oil blend, and it is already diluted with fractionated coconut oil, so it's super easy to just apply to your wrist, put it on the back of your neck, which you can also do after you have it in your hands. You can just wipe the extra off on your shoulders and neck. It's just a beautiful smell. And if you have questions about this system, just drop them in the comments below if you want to know more. But don't, remember always For nighttime, you must have a nighttime routine. And we'll talk about this every single week because it is so important. If you work on the computer right up until it's time for bed, if you are stressed and you're not getting the what's bothering you out of your head, journaling is amazing for that. I actually have two books that I write in. One is for just brain dump, get everything out of my brain that is negative, that is could be anything possibly stressful, negative, frustrations, whatever it is. And then I have another journal or a sheet of paper that I review my day where I list my joys and my wins. I want to end the day on a positive note. And this serves two purposes. It reminds me of the joy that I've experienced. And if I can't think of anything that brought me joy, then that's a problem. So it can be something as small as someone smiled at me, a stranger at the grocery store. That makes my day to see smiles from people. Or maybe complimented me on something. Or maybe I complimented someone and their smile brought me joy. So record those joys. And then so often, especially women, we tend to dismiss smaller wins. We're so focused on the big wins that we neglect sometimes to note the small wins and celebrate them along the way. So I have made up, and I'm guilty of this. So I've made a point of listing my wins for the day. And sometimes it's just, if it's a really bad day, maybe I had one of those bad nights where I was up all night, it's that I got out of bed. I mean, that's a win. Um, so it doesn't have to be something huge. Maybe it was resisting, uh, you know, something sugary at the grocery store. Maybe it was I caught myself scrolling and I stopped. So, or a win could be my alarm went off to get me off the computer and I actually got off on time. So all those things add up, and it's going to get me closer to my big goal by acknowledging those small wins. So, and then of course, celebrate the big wins too. So, I hope you found this helpful, and I would love to hear your story about sleep and stress. And till next time, choose you, choose natural, choose now.